Welcome to Moments in Time, episode 2. Joined today by Bryn, Tom and Adi. Today we're going to be talking about a night that we did together called Shavu. Playing lots of music, talking about the different venues that we were at and some of the fun times that we had. But we'll crack on with this first track. This was Lawnchair Generals. I can't remember the name of it. We used to party.
It's up to us to bring it back. 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 To bring it back.
Great start there for the Lawnchair Generals. Cheers for joining me, lads. Really appreciate it. Looking forward to the show. Lots of great memories that we're trying to remember. I think it's best to start at the beginning, as always. First club that we were at was a club called Atlantis, and Tom used to run it alongside another chap, Eve. Yeah. Do you want to pick the mic up? Turn it on. Do you want to tell us a little bit about those times, Tom, as we started with Shavu and stuff? But yeah, tell us a little bit about your time at Atlantis.
Yeah, it's It's hard to remember. Mainly because it was such a long time ago.
Yeah.
So then going back to when I was 23, started working out. Left Topshop, which was about my heyday.
Nice.
Joined Eve. Eve bought this little underground venue. Now the Basement.
Yeah, I was going to say, people might know it as the Basement now.
And helped him do it up. It was just like a little sweat box. I think it held about 100 people. And just tried to get some good music going in there, which we did for a while without many people really there.
Yeah, fair enough.
Until
as is the case.
Shivu and other nights kind of came along, and I kind of got to know you guys better and
join the crew.
Yes. Exactly.
Nice, yeah. So obviously those first few parties, obviously remembering the guests there was quite difficult at the time. But yeah, I think we found out now that we brought people like we brought the Little Men, brought Tony Thomas. Do you lads, do you remember much about those parties?
Yeah, just about. Yeah, they're a small venue, underground venue, like Tom said. So it was kind of went along with the music that we were into at the time. And yeah, just a good little start, really. Invited friends down and started to build up a bit of a regular crowd. So yeah, it's really the beginning of, like I said, when we all kind of got together and decided that we wanted to do the night seriously.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it was good times really. I remember sort of you being at college with Bryn, right? Yeah, and that's where you guys met and came up with the idea. Bryn, what do you remember from those Atlantis days?
Not a great deal, to be perfectly honest. I can remember meeting Tom in Topshop. He was outside the girls' changing rooms.
I was asked to be there.
Yeah, said that's what his boss said it should be, but we all know the true story. And Tom was Florida at the time, I think, for a rival sort of event, and we were sort of trying to get our name out there. And then I think just through going out and partying and sort of being around, we sort of said, oh, can you come down here and do a night? I think Atlantis at the time was hosting illegal parties from 2 till 6 a.m. I don't think you're going to get any retrospective punishment. Yeah. But I remember it being sort of the place that filled up at 2 a.m. and obviously like people stayed till 6 and obviously beyond. So yeah, good times, cool little venue, good place to start for us. And like you say,
nice,
it was just
small.
Yeah, getting the community of like-minded people together who liked decent house music, which I think at the time wasn't always the case in Leicester.
Awesome. Thanks for that, lads. Yeah, so we'll just as we play music today, it will just be sort of tunes from the sort of whole time of Shivu. So no particular order in that one, but this one is Alex Kidd and Don't Hide It.
I could say I really missed you. You are not easily dismissed. Why did you come here to defend yourself from the trial of my memories? I was too attached to get away, but you never even thought of someone else. And everything you said, I just swallowed, never questioning the source. You see, I guess I was naive. You had me spoon-fed, licking venom from your hands. Well, next time you meet somebody, kiss them on the cheek and don't hide it. 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 Don't hide
Alex Kidd and Don't Hide It. We're just talking through. Obviously, the Atlantis days they were great. We did a few parties there, and then we felt that moving venue was probably the right thing to do. We found this little gem called Weavers, which was at the top of King Street. Is that right? Yeah, King Street. An absolutely awesome venue. Yeah, to this day, I don't think I've really come across such a unique venue. It was like 3 old cottages, one up, one downs, and the courtyard was sort of the dance floor where the bar was. I remember going there and speaking to Nikki and Tino. We just muddled together. Yeah, and doing parties there. I mean, you know, obviously crazy amount of memories from that particular venue. I don't know, you guys, Tom, do you want to sort of come up with your sort of favourites or like the beginning? Thank you.
It's just as we were just kind of talking about it, it's all kind of coming back to me because Bryn mentioned I was flyering for someone else, and before I joined Atlantis, I was flyering for Weavers. So it was, I remember it all now. Used to have like the 69 magazine club nights there before, and then it kind of like just kind of like fell off a little bit, and that's kind of when I think we started to go in there. But I mean, there were so many awesome nights there. It's like I've been racking my brains over the last few days trying to piece them all together and remember some of them, and try and kind of remember what year they were and how far into it. But there were some unreal ones. I mean, there was ones like when Switch, Dave Taylor played, and
set the speakers on fire.
Good. The speakers caught fire. Obviously, we had Annie Mac down there, Leo Belchez from Chibuku Shake Shake in Liverpool.
Yeah.
We have that. We had so many, didn't we? Tim Sherwood. Did we have Smoking Joe down there?
Don't think so. No.
I'll pass over to you. Remember more than I do.
So I've got better memories of Weavers than Atlantis, which is good. The thing I can remember most about Weavers is probably like the first time when we sort of went a little bit more eclectic in terms of the music policy. Like we've been really about underground house music, and for those of you who know, underground house music doesn't really attract very pretty girls very often. So we thought it might be a good idea to sort of flex out some different styles. And Weavers gave us the chance to have a main room and sort of a side room, and we had like lots of like cool like local Leicester DJs playing as residents. Colo, Neil and Eddie Cheever, Half Cut Club,
yeah.
Richie K. Used to basically play the sickest garage that you've ever known in your life in a room probably about as big as this studio. So it was a really cool sort of eclectic time, and I think for the night it sort of went from strength to strength. It went from being sort of an underground thing with mates to being like 500 people trying to get in. And I think the idea was really to try and make, like any promoter, really try and make each party better than the next.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Sorry, go carry.
No, it's cool. You go. It's your show.
Yeah, I remember sort of just touching on the second room. The second room was actually, you had to go through the cottage, up the stairs, and sort of the whole of upstairs was basically people's bedrooms, I guess, like back in the day. But like we would set decks up in there and sort of deck it out with like highly flammable material.
Maybe fire retardant.
Yeah, of course we did. Yeah. Was this when you could smoke in clubs as well?
Yeah.
Was it? Yeah. Okay. God. Yeah. So that was great, and sort of touching on sort of what Bryn says, and I'm sure AD can elaborate on this. But yeah, we felt that Weavers was when it really sort of kicked off in terms of building a really strong community of like just people who just wanted to sort of have fun and listen to great music. And yeah, like I said, the eclecticness of our guests sort of really pushed that out there. Beat Monkeys always like brought a really great party. Sonny Wharton, obviously like massive part of our early days, and then obviously still putting on like the house stuff with Leo. I mean, Leo was like such a good DJ. I remember him being so technically gifted. It was like real pleasure to have him down. But yeah, hey, if you can elaborate on sort of some of those guests that we had and like the eclecticness, and I'm sure we'll get on to like the birthday with Annie Mac and stuff.
Yeah, I think Bryn's mentioned most of the guests really already, but yeah, just sort of add on really to what has been said. I think that was the point where we kind of realised we were actually onto a night that could be successful. It started really just trying to invite friends and friends of friends to come down and try and fill quite a small club, but fairly quickly we had queues of people wanting to get in, and I think it was just the right time for Leicester in terms of having something a little bit different rather than just the usual house nights that were going on.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, great parties, really unique venue. Used to get ridiculously hot in there. Just a bit crazy really, but in a good way.
Absolutely. We'll play another record and then we'll have a couple more stories from Weavers. This one is Romanthony versus Roman Flugel. This is a Switch, the legend. which yeah, so just going back to sort of our Weavers days and more memories that we're just talking about here. I remember one of my strong memories from it was a New Year's Eve that we did there, and we'd sold out the party a couple of days before New Year's Eve, and we were all buzzing, like, you know, it was like such a great achievement for us. So we went into the nightclub and spoke to the owner, Tino, and sat down, sort of said, look, we've sold out, like, absolutely amazing. And remember sort of Tino saying, that's great, guys, like, well done, you know, great stuff. So, you know, where are we sort of financially? And we'd made 40 quid. and we were meant to go 50-50 with Tino, with the club on the event. And he sort of just looked at us pitifully and just said, you can have that, lads, that's cool. Like, but yeah, that's like sort of one of my memories. Tom, hey, Bryn, what you got?
I think that kind of epitomised what we were all about in terms of promoting club nights, wasn't it? It's
yeah, for sure.
Financials was like a distant afterthought. Like, oh, did we actually how much did we lose? Oh, we made money. Oh, amazing! Yeah. It was always just about putting on the party, loving the music, and just loving the atmosphere of it all going off when we were there, and everyone kind of like vibing off it on the nights. That was everything. But yeah, it really takes me back just kind of thinking about Weavers, because it was, as we were just saying, it was, I think in that venue took us from the place where we were starting to get local reputation. We were having DJ competitions at the start before the night started to try and get people in early, to try and get people interested. And I think we were searching for like a resident, weren't we? And that was the prize. But in our time at Weavers, we kind of went from them and little tactics to try and actually get people to come in to the point where we were starting to get national press, and we were back in the days of like DJ Mag and all the other magazines, and we were kind of getting like top 5 nights in the UK and really starting to get national recognition.
Yeah.
And I think that was Weavers was really the platform that we kind of like jumped up and made a lot of people sit up and take notice. And I think it was probably the fact that we didn't think about money first that potentially got us into that position. So.
Yeah, absolutely, man, absolutely. Yeah, and I think the uniqueness of the venue as well. When the guests came, they were sort of like what is this? Like, it was totally unconventional, which we can't really state that enough, really. But Aid, sort of any more memories? Maybe the first birthday, or the New Year's Eve that we just spoke about, sort of the guests.
Yeah, I think that New Year's Eve was definitely sort of like a iconic moment, really. Selling out the venue, and we just sort of cracked on from there, didn't we? Just kind of blew up. But yeah, I suppose as well, like Weavers was the time when we started to get more people involved, which was great. Started building up a little family. Sounds a little bit cliche, but we had people helping with flyering, setting up the sound system, collecting money on the door, and it just felt like everyone was sort of trying to get behind the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
As Tom just said, it was about putting on the party and having a good time, not necessarily looking at it as a business. And
we all had jobs, so it was all right, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So great times. And I think, as Pas said, all the DJs loved it because they were coming to a kind of small, intimate venue, which as a DJ is great to play.
Absolutely.
And everyone was really into what we were doing. So great atmosphere.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, just before Bryn sort of gives this, flyering is this thing where you have you have bits of paper with the information of the night on, and you stand on the corner of the street and give them to strangers and tell them to come to your night, which I know for a lot of people listening is not that obscure, but for new listeners and younger people, that's just not a thing.
A0 posters.
Yeah, A0 posters. Like, remember we used to go to roundabouts on the edge of Leicester and risk our lives to just put them up on like motorway traffic lights. Crazy, really. Yeah, Bryn, first birthday.
First birthday sort of came around really fast, and there was a young female DJ called Annie Mack. You may have heard of her. That we thought would be very fitting as a sort of guest to sort of encapsulate not only where we wanted to try and go to in terms of the night and sort of the people's opinion of the night, and where sort of another level of where we wanted to try and go to. She only cost, I think it was 600 quid at the time, which was looking back, a bit of a bargain. Let's just say that the price did increase over subsequent years.
The more we drove up to, yeah.
But I think the first birthday for me, I can remember it so well because my favourite football team, Sheffield Wednesday, were in the playoff final, and I chose not to go, having had a ticket to go, not to go to the final because we had to set the club up. And if you've ever promoted a club night, you'll know that setting the club up is one of the longest, most arduous tasks going. And I think we used to try and go to town a little bit on what we did, and it basically, I think we mentioned it before, involved buying lots of drapes that for some reason we buy every other month or every month or so. We never keep them, would we?
We could never have a stock of things, could we?
So for me, the sort of day was sort of quite long because I obviously wanted to watch the football. So I think we were in the sore point for a little bit watching the game. Sheffield Wednesday won, which we don't say very often, but we won. So the day for me was already pretty cool, to be honest. And then it just led into the evening. And all I can remember is we went for a meal. So this is the time when Mixmag was sort of floating around us and asking us, what the night was about and could we send someone down. And they sent somebody down from the magazine. The following hours will remain in this room and in this room only. But it's safe to say that we got a positive review from that person, so it was all good.
Absolutely, yeah. Alongside Annie on that night was Leo as well, Leo Belchez, who, again, sort of that was such a great DJ. We thought he'd sort of compliment her amazingly. She had a Radio 1 shirt at that point, didn't she? Yeah. Just right, yeah, amazing. And yeah, like I say, the after party was yeah. Good. We took a hotel. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, great stuff. We'll play another tune now. I'll introduce it afterwards. that was out the door. Super discount remix of Who Made Who. I think that's right. That's right, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, we're just sort of again trying to piece sort of years together from sort of Weavers into our next venue. Then we started sort of chatting about our online presence, which in those early days was quite forum led. There was sort of forums called Gurn.net, which was quite a big one where promoters would sort of promote their events and people would talk about their nights out around the country. And then we had sort of our own website where we incorporated our own forum, which was fun. Great fun. We had some good threads on there. Lookalike threads was probably the most well received, I guess. That was fun. I don't know. That's basically all I can remember from sort of Shavu.net, which is what it was. Tom, you had a story or two there, mate. Come on.
I mean, it was savage, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. In today's environment, yes.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking. This is kind of like the pre thing to social media, wasn't it? It was different forums where you could post events, post stuff about music. People would comment on it, say something nice, something horrible.
Expand the community, wasn't it, around the country?
Yeah, on Shavu.net, we always kind of like posting topical things that people could kind of join the community and kind of get involved, kind of pre-social media. And yeah, like you said, we had the lookalikes, which was easily the most popular page, and people would just post up pictures of the most random stuff and accuse other people of looking like it. I think at one stage someone accused me of looking like Boris Johnson.
Yeah.
I used to have hair, so
there you go.
But yeah, there was some funny stuff on there. But I think that was the kind of I suppose the building of community, and like Bryn said before, Shavu was all about looking for kind of like-minded people and getting them involved, and that was back then. That was kind of a way to do it, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
By having our own forum, which was good fun.
Yeah, talking more, I have to give some light mentions to some of the guys that we had in our sort of close family that would help us promote and stuff. Like Birdie was a great guy. Sort of went on to own Basing House in London.
Yeah.
And we had like the De Montfort University girls as well, Sammy, and unfortunately I can't remember the other girl's name. We had who else did we have?
There was Stevie P as well.
Yeah, Stevie P.
Shout out to Stevie P if you're listening. Jay Shez kind of got involved early on, doing some flyering with us as well. Yeah, so there was Sammy Mac as we dubbed her.
That's right. Yeah.
There was kind of like I think from their friendship group, there's a few other kind of different people that kind of got involved and always kind of out flyering and
helped
spreading
us out.
the word and stuff like that. And it just kind of showed that family togetherness that we all had of just wanting to have a good time, listen to some good music.
Yeah, absolutely. Our next venture after Weavers was a nightclub called 04, Original 4. Was it called Original 4 first
Original
and then
4?
04?
I think people just abbreviated it.
Just abbreviated it.
Yeah,
Okay, cool. Yeah, and then we moved from Weavers. We felt we needed somewhere with 2 rooms really. That was probably the sort of the bottom line of it, wasn't it? I guess so we could sort of put on the different styles of music that we knew were amazing out there. So we'd have one room. The club was sort of 4 floors, wasn't it? Yeah. So bottom floor was like a bar. Second floor was our more really eclectic room where we'd have sort of hip hop, live acts, which we'll go more into in a moment. And then the third floor was sort of your dance floor led music. And then the top floor was sort of our second room at Weavers, I guess, which is like an extension of that, where like all of the Half Cut Club, and that was again like sort of an amazing sort of space to have, and it would mean that sort of any sort of range of people could come to our events. Whether it didn't really matter what sort of music you're into, it was more about the vibe, I guess. If you want to elaborate on that, Bryn, Aid.
I'll elaborate. So we're not sure of the first night, but we think the first night might have been a night by Annie Mac, which was called Annie Mac Presents, which is on Thursday before Christmas. And there was a guest, a guy called Kissy Sellout, who at the time was probably like, for about maybe 24 months, probably the biggest DJ in the UK. There was a sort of electro, sort of indie house sound that he sort of was one of the sort of foundations for. He went on to have his own Radio 1 show. I think it was a CDJ 1000 Mark II had just come out, and like he was so sick at looping tracks, like compared to the average sort of house DJ. I can remember him tearing it up sort of on the dance floor, and then as was the case with some of our parties, the monitors let us down a little bit. And I remember him saying, I think he said, "I can't hear a fucking thing. Does it sound all right?" And I was like, "Just look around, mate." And like literally everyone's going insane. So I think he did a pretty good job. The funniest thing was that his mum had come to see him for the first time ever.
It was the end of his tour, wasn't it?
The end of his tour, yeah. And obviously Ali Mack had played and obviously smashed it, and he was sort of last set and like did a wicked job. And he was drinking Bacardi Breezer, and he's very, very keen to drink a watermelon Bacardi Breezer, and I was very keen to try and find one for him. And as I was trying to find one for him, like his parents sort of came up to me and was like, "Oh, you know, bro, great night," sort of thing. Can we see like you know, Kissy, like where is he? And I think at this stage, Kissy was pretty worse for wear, shall we say. I'll leave it to your imagination what I've been doing. It was much more than those watermelon Bacardi Breezers. And the shock of him seeing his mother in sort of a quite cold, dark sort of environment was a sight to behold. So there was some very awkward hugging going on. And I sort of left the room none the wiser. So that was the first sort of venture to 04. We dealt with some guys that we've known for so long. So Gaz Baggins, Big Rich, Nick Pearce, all so funny to work with and alongside. And I think, you know, their collective stupidness made it for a really fun partnership.
Nice. Thanks, Bryn. That was great. Aid, yeah, do you want to talk about some other times at 04? I mean, that first party was great. We think that was the first party, that Annie Matt presents one. Yeah, great stuff. What sort of year was this anyway? What are we talking now? We're talking 2005, 2006?
Yeah, that was
the time when we sort of moved to 04. 04, sorry, just before you started. It was a sort of, it's not massive sort of capacity, it's about 600, wasn't it, over the 4 rooms. So again, super intimate on all the floors, and those 2 middle floors were sort of equal size. So it was, again, you could really generate some good atmosphere in both those rooms. Yeah, go Aid, go.
Yeah, wow, some amazing DJs played there. Great memories. I think, as has already been mentioned, you know, 4 smallish rooms gave us the opportunity to book a massive variety of DJs. For a while, we kind of went down that sort of route of getting in kind of established, almost legends, like we had Jazzy B from Soul to Soul, you know, DJ Food, Utah Saints, Yoda, Crazy P live, which was amazing, and then also, you know, the more dance floor orientated room as well. Wow, a tight small room that DJs just love playing in. So lots of wicked DJs, and I think a perfect venue for us in terms of being bigger, so we could book bigger DJs, but also put them on in a smaller room that they enjoy playing in.
And also remember, sort of like when we did look to book DJs, we sort of always looked to book people that hadn't played in Leicester in the past, and just sort of follow that suit sort of quite rigorously, really, and make sure that when we were doing something, it was like, oh yeah, that's not happened before, so you know, we need to go and see that, and maybe that won't happen again. Nice. I'll play another record, then we'll have some more stories. This is Do What You Do, Paul Woolford remix. Great stuff. Yes, so we are now talking about sort of legendary parties that we've had and some of the guests that we've had at Original 4. Tom will go through some of them in a moment, but we're sort of talking, big guests. Justice that we had. I remember Justice coming over from France and not speaking much English and having sort of 2 gigs that weekend, and that was us and Fabric, which it was amazing to sort of think that that's what they chose us to play that weekend, which is great for us. But yeah, I mean, Tom managed to find some parties that we've got on Resident Advisor from years ago, which to start with, sort of go for it, Tom.
Yeah, I mean, again, this is kind of the probably pre or early days of social media, so it's not that easy to find all this information.
Yeah, absolutely.
So just while we've been talking, while the tune was on, we were just kind of like digging up and having a look at some of the events and trying to figure out what was first and when we moved to 04 and stuff like that. So, but as you say, Justice, amazing event. That was probably one of my favourite ones of our parties ever. Yeah, that whole Ed Banger movement and that whole sound was just it was awesome, and we were pretty early with it, as you could tell by the fact that Justice came over and played us in Fabric, and that just kind of shows where our forward-thinking mindset probably was throughout the whole thing. But looking at some of the others, so when we first went to Original 4, we had the likes of Tom Middleton, which was, I think, by the looks of it, quite an early one. Evil 9, which were pretty big at the time as well. A-Skills, I think we said Black Ghosts, Scratch Perverts, Switch, DJ Format. Yeah,
Scratch Perverts, Format and A-Skills would be sort of like staple of our second room sound, really, weren't they?
I think I remember from like the early days, we were always talking about trying to get Scratch Perverts, and I can almost kind of remember the conversation of all of us like, we've done it.
Yeah, we've got him. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, absolutely.
I think we had him twice over the maybe not all in 04, but over our time, and I think that pretty much kind of epitomises the kind of guests that we were looking to try and work with, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Just touching on that second room, Bryn, I'm sure you can tell us a bit more about the C2C night that we had. Well, we had them twice, but they're like world DMC team champions, right? Yeah, for God knows how many years on the trot.
Yeah, I mean, just like 2 sort of amazing sort of DJs, and I think sort of at the time, like Scratch Perverts, people like DJ Craze, C2C, like we were just sort of blown away by the technical ability alone, the sort of ability to sort of rock a party. Later on down the line, which I'm sure we'll talk about, we booked A-Track. And it was sort of very of the time that people, they used to work the turntables and put on a bit of a show. And I think that's almost, disappeared from sort of like more mainstream sort of clubs, unfortunately, into sort of more mundane, shall we say, DJ sets. But I think they were just so cool. Check them out. I think they were 4 times DMC champions. But it was just the way they just moved from sort of 100 BPM into like 130 just seamlessly and absolutely smashed it. And when you just watch them warm up and have a little mess around, beforehand, it just blows you away. And there's a video of Craze and John First, who is a Leicester guy, and he played some of our very, very later parties, I think John First did. And they met each other, warmed up in the club, and that's obviously spanned a relationship that's had a boiler room. So I think it was always sort of front and centre to be really eclectic. We had more sort of party people, so like A-Skills sort of vibe, which was a bit more party vibes, but definitely a sound that was very of the moment. Scratch Perverts is a good one. So Scratch Perverts, we wanted to book them for ages, and there was a bit of to and fro with the agent, and it's all like, dead shrouded in secrecy, and it got I remember the night really well because they hadn't turned up, and it was like they were playing, I think, 1 till 3 or maybe 2 till 4, and they'd not turned up, and I was like, oh God, here we go. Like, we booked these guys, finally booked them, and they obviously rock up 10 minutes after they're meant to, straight on the decks to like massive cheers and obviously like tore the place apart. But it was strange because Niall from Scratch Perverts, he was actually flatmates with a girl that I've known all my life called Laura Myers, and we were married when we were 6, and he was now a flatmate. And that completely blew my mind that we knew each other. So small world, and shout out to those two as well.
Yeah, Niall obviously went on to become one half of Jack Beats as well, which that's obviously another thing. I do remember from that second room and booking all these sort of technically minded guests was because the room was quite small. The setups had to be really on point, and Aidan, I'm sure you were the one that was sort of lumbered with setting all these up and making sure that everything worked. I do remember times when the decks just either wouldn't work or they'd be on a platform where it just wasn't good enough. I mean, can you remember some of the nightmares that we've had?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the thing about 04, it wasn't really like a purpose-built club venue. So, and obviously we wanted to put on these sort of DJs that they're also a visual thing. So in the end, we actually built a small stage, and it was a small stage.
It was a small stage.
You're trying to get scratch perverts on there with 6 turntables, all the rest of it.
Yeah.
We didn't even have that many turntables. We just found them from somewhere.
Stealed and borrowed from everywhere, making sure they were good.
Trying to make that all work technically and just make it a good show. It was a bit of a challenge, but
when we booked Crazy P live, that was obviously another level of setup. 'Cause that was a live band. Do you remember what they said when they walked in? They walked in to sound check.
Yeah, I think at that point they were like a 7-piece band, so we had this stage probably about the size of this room, and so the look of shock on their face. Plus they had a separate live desk that had to go at the back of the room, but made it work, and it was a wicked
That was a
party.
great night. Yeah, it was a great party. Yeah, apart from the CDJ. Great stuff. Yeah, so great times as well. Sort of talking that second room and the eclecticness of our guests and the party starters. Basically, we'll play another tune, then we'll get back to some more fun stories. classic there, Zadar so we're talking about sort of, obviously we did our parties at 04, but we also ventured out of Leicester every now and again. We sort of did parties in Ibiza. We did parties in London, did the Cross in London. We did a boat party, which Bryn came up with a great tagline for. Bryn, can you tell everyone what it was?
I'm sure you could guess. Those more nautical people out there. The boat party was something that we just wanted to do for a bit of a laugh. It was a fancy dress party, so like all fancy dress parties, they just end up in absolute carnage. I can remember one of our marketing team, Tag, being ejected from the boat after it had probably about 10 metres or so out to, I'd like to say out to sea, but it definitely wasn't the sea it was in.
The River Trent.
Yeah, the River Trent. Obviously, like carnage, I think it was the audio DJs who were playing, so Stu and Warren. Hopefully Warren will be listening somewhere on his rally bike or something like that. But those guys are playing, and I remember the captain of the ship getting a rather irate every time sort of a beat dropped, because the bass was almost stopping the boat from moving.
It was moving it. It was steering it basically.
Yeah. So, and then obviously, like, we had the sort of coach ready and armed to go back to a place called Esco, which was owned by the 9 Bar guys, Ben and Darren, which was again a really cool little bar. Lots of cool little nights, and DJs went there. Can't remember much about that. I think there's a photo of me and Neil, who's Robo-Chop. I've got my top off and a suntan. Oh, and there's David Hasselhoff, obviously. Obviously. In some tight red shorts, and that's about all I can remember from that. But it was a nice trip out, with everybody.
It was fun, yeah, and you can still book that boat now if you want to. The Princess Nottingham. But if it's raining, it actually doesn't move. You know that. If it rains, it doesn't go out, and they don't warn you about that. But yeah, that was one of the parties. Do you want to sort of tell us a bit about one that you might remember, whether that's I don't know, Ibiza or the Cross in London?
Yeah, the Cross was good. Wicked little venue. So we all took a trip down there. That was great. I think we did Custard Factory in Birmingham as well.
Oh yeah, we did. Yeah, forgot about that.
So yeah, just nice to go out and about with the Shavu name.
Yeah.
But yeah, we also started doing nights in Loughborough as well.
We did nights in Loughborough. The venue called Rain it was, which is now Revolution.
And then moved on to Rapture in Loughborough as well. A couple of parties at Loughborough Uni, which were sort of bigger things for us today.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember those. Count and Sinden, Annie Mac. There was another one, wasn't there? Was it High Contrast?
Yeah, I think it was.
That was one we did with Just Insane Music.
Yeah.
Remember that? The Loughborough ones, yeah, they were good. Tom, have you got any... anyone else? Any others that we did? I think that was all of them, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was. Unless we've missed any. I mean, just touching on the fact, it's always good to go out and do different parties elsewhere and kind of take your name out. And Shavuma Timbers was easily one of my best days of my life. It was a lot of fun. And but yeah, like going to places like the Cross, and the Cross at the time was legendary. I mean, it's not even there anymore.
No,
is it?
it's not. No.
But at the time, its reputation for underground music was huge, and so to get invited to somewhere like that, same with Custard Factory, was obviously awesome to do and awesome to get out. I don't think we did anymore.
Can't really remember. I remember Loughborough. We had sort of Annie Mac at one of them, and then what was it? The Streets.
I remember we went all the way to Rugby for a couple of stints. I don't know if anyone remembers that huge venue style bar. Shout out to our resident at the time, Steve Gibson, who I think he was working with the guys from Shibuya in Liverpool, which is obviously one of the best club nights in the UK. And I think the one thing that I remember about Gibbo was a very nice guy, always reliable, and he took the brand to Rugby, and it's safe to say that we didn't stay there very long.
Amazing. Here's Burial Archangel, Boy 8-Bit remix.
It's big in rugby, this track.
Kissing.
Archangel, Boy 8-Bit remix. We've just remembered we actually did a few more things away from Leicester. So, yeah, remember we went down with the Samiad guys, Ian and Phil. They used to have residences in Newquay, and we went down one summer, massive drive. Yeah, that was all right. That was quite an experience for sure. And yeah, Bryn reminded us that we did Derby as well, a place called, we think it was called Sun Lounge. I think that might actually be Vines now, but I can't confirm that. Was there another one? What was the other one we just said? No, I can't. Yeah, that was they were the sort of parties there. And then obviously we were still doing parties in Leicester, and we thought it was time to we were getting some decent traction, putting on some good parties at 04. And then we sort of decided, maybe we should do sort of a bigger event. And that was in the form of us going to Leicester Uni at the time remember the room used to have like a wooden floor. It was like quite an old school sort of students' union. It's now the O2 Academy, which is obviously, I'm sure a lot of people know what that is. It was great night. We'll talk about that a bit more now. Talk about the lineup and stuff, but we'll play another tune and then we'll talk about it if that's all right. Truckers, the salt and pepper bootleg. I suppose that's what they're called, aren't they? So just following on from before that tune, we sort of went into Leicester Uni, put a party on there, and we booked Annie Mac, A-Track, and Fake Blood. What year was that again? Was that 2008? 2008, yeah. So, great party, great experience. Remember sort of the Fake Blood was a guest that no one knew who he was. He was releasing records, obviously really well produced, and the whole elusiveness around him was basically what made him absolutely massive, and he hadn't even played a gig yet. So we were sort of trying to figure out who it was. I remember sort of those times, like I'm sure everybody was in the industry. But then I don't know how it happened. AD, you might be able to shed a bit of light on this, but did we get offered him or?
So
Yeah.
I think I can shed some light on it. So there's a guy called Boy 8-Bit who we'd booked a couple of times. He came down with Fake Blood, who was DJ Touche on a bank holiday. And I can remember him really well because he had quite long ginger hair and a baseball cap, and he danced all night at that event. And I was like, who's this guy? And it turned out it was Touche's mate. Anyway, fast forward and this guy, Boy 8-Bit's releasing some absolute quality records. And I think we got him down for a gig. And lo and behold, when Boy 8-Bit was there, DJ Touche had come with him. And I was like, we hadn't booked Touche. And then sort of it slowly started to click that potentially Boy 8-Bit is Fake Blood or DJ Touche's Fake Blood. And I can't remember who it was that told me, but someone said like they're playing Fake Blood tracks and Touche is going mental. So I can remember like just thinking, I think I'd had a few too many drinks by then. I remember thinking, you know what, I'm just going to ask them outright as they leave. And so sort of, you say goodbye, and you have a great trip back or whatever, get home safe or whatever. And I was like, and I just said, so which one of you is Fake Blood then? And they both looked at each other and started laughing. And then Touche sort of like gave me a bit of a wink. He looked a little bit like me at the time as well. He gave me a bit of a wink and sort of said, it's me. I was Fake Blood. Sorry, guys. I finally admitted it. So I think that's how it came about. But the uni gig was always like trying to take it to the next level, wasn't it? And I suppose any fledgling promoter or any promoter out there always want to try and make things, bigger and better. And we sort of thought that that's what Leicester needed at the time. And I can remember like we just opened Superfly, myself and Tom. And obviously like sort of dead busy time for us. But I can remember like there was a sort of like level of excitement that we'd not really felt since like, I don't know, maybe the first birthday or the first New Year's Eve or something. Everyone was just like so up for this event. It was like unbelievable. And I remember we sort of got like big screens in for the first time. And it sort of felt like walking into the room like, we'd almost made it in terms of like a bigger thing. What we didn't know at the time was that the university was going to be O2, but we couldn't do another night. So we didn't know this at the time, but we thought, we'd do one here, we'd get, a good crowd in, 1,000 people, whatever. We could do another one, build on it. And then basically like we delivered a wicked party. I'll let the guys talk about A-Track in a minute because I think he's worthy of his own sort of segue.
Absolutely.
And we thought we'd, move on from there and go into another 1,000 sort of venue and trying to make that place our home, but it didn't quite work out like that.
Yeah, nice one. Yes, yeah. So yeah, the Fake Blood sort of we managed to get him to come and play, and that was like absolutely awesome. Probably one of his first gigs as Fake Blood, right? Yeah. Lo and behold, we knew him as Touche, and we'd booked him, and we'd booked the Black Ghost, who he was part of as well, which they were sort of staples in our bookings over the years. But yeah, A-Track. Which one of you guys wants to take that one?
Yeah, I mean the guy, insane DJ. Did like Bryn was saying before about we just admired so many DJs that had unbelievable technical skills, and I think Bryn was talking before about the DMC championships, scratch championships, and I think
He won it when he
I'm
was
right
15.
in saying Craze had won it like 3 times in a row, which was a world record. And then the person to beat him the next year was a 15-year-old kid.
Yeah.
Practicing in his bedroom endlessly. And this kid was A-Track. And so we'd obviously always wanted to get him along. And pretty sure that he'd probably put on a good performance and wowed the 1,000 people that were in the audience. And he just he took it by storm, didn't he?
He
went
really
absolutely
did, yeah.
crazy. Started climbing up on top of the DJ booth, which I'm pretty sure was just like a table, wasn't it? Was it like a trestle table or something?
Yeah,
like
it
that?
wasn't very sturdy.
Just jumped up on it. I think he was like lifting the decks and the CDJs in the air and stuff like that, and just going absolutely crazy, doing a load of like cuts and loops and stuff like that, and just tore the place to pieces.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable.
Remember him being quite sort of shy as well. Yeah, I'm not sure if he'd sort of been. Obviously, he'd been around the world, but yeah, it felt like he was quite sort of a shy person at that point. I'm sure that changed over the years.
Practicing in his bedroom.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Decks,
that's right. But yeah, I think that whole lineup sort of encompassed everything that sort of Shavu was. Annie Mac, the Fake Blood, and A-Track sort of gave everything. And the night. Remember the night being amazing. Yeah, I remember actually when I met my wife I think it was a couple of years later, she'd actually come to that night from Loughborough Uni. So that was, there you go. That's another great story.
We were saying before between the music, this was kind of at the time where people started using different technology to DJ, and it kind of shows how everything that we did, we almost wanted to do ourselves. It wasn't just a kind of like, oh, we'll get a sound team in to manage this. We were kind of just take it upon ourselves to do all the production and the setup. And we were just saying before that it's between, I think it might have been between A-Track and Annie Mac. Me and you passed just basically trying to like unplug parts of the mixer to then plug in a turntable whilst not trying to unplug anything that was playing. And like everyone in like on the dance floor just going crazy, waving at us, and we were there sweating, trying to like. Just looking back, we should just paid for a sound team, but these are the kind of people we are. Stupid. Basically.
Amazing.
Passionate. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah, learning on the job. called Warrior Claude Von Stroke mix. So after we did our Leicester Uni gig, we went back to '04 for our 5th birthday, and that was DJ Yoda, who again like sort of epitomises the eclectic sort of turntable technical ability of the DJs that we'd book. Like great party. Do you remember? I remember Yoda sort of being just the thing I remember about that party actually was when Yoda was playing, he was just laughing all the time to himself, like because obviously he was mixing ridiculous 7-inch records, but doing it to such like great cheer from the crowd. I mean, I can't remember. I know we sort of tried to pinpoint it earlier. I can't remember what sort of set it was. Was it one of his 80 sets? Or I remember it was 7-inch. Was that pretty much it? Or I can't really remember any of the tunes he played.
Burning Ring of Fire.
Sorry, what was that, Bryn, with the mic?
Sorry, everybody at home listening. In your thousands.
Hundreds.
I remember him playing Burning Ring of Fire. You fell into Burning Ring of Fire. And it burns. And obviously mix it in something completely different to that. But that's one of my memories. And I think a young Lee Slaney was on the dance floor, actually, at the time.
Nice.
I think he might have been actually glass collecting, or trying to glass collect and just watching DJ Yoda. But it doesn't sound like Slaney, slacking off.
And that was at Superfly, right?
Yeah, Superfly, yeah, that one.
So Superfly was sort of started by Tom and Bryn. They basically took over '04 at the time, and sort of, I'm sure a lot of you know Superfly at the moment, and maybe that'll be another show if anyone listens to these. After the 5th birthday, that was coming to the end of sort of the Shavu era. I remember sort of ending it on we sort of joined with Superfly City Festival. That was like the first of its kind in Leicester, right? Like, it's a whole weekend in the club. Obviously the 4 rooms from Thursday to Sunday. We were just looking at the lineup there, and on the Thursday we had a Scream disco set, and that was in one room. Who was upstairs again, Tom? That was the middle room.
I've just gone off the page. It was, yeah. So I've got it now. So yeah, Scream disco set, Drop the Line, and yeah, C2C Beat Torrent, who we talked about before, the DMC champions. I remember that weekend just being. It was the epitome of biting off more than you can chew. I think we reached the end of the 4 days being like, what were we thinking?
Yeah,
and then we decided to do it for another 2 years.
Yeah, amazing.
But yeah, it was unbelievable atmosphere across the weekend, and yeah, that Scream disco set was
with Mark Roberts. Yeah, Mark Roberts brought a young Scream to our door. We didn't know this at the time, but he played. I remember this as well. Actually, he turned up with 2 CDs, and we were like, "Oh, is that it?" And he was like, "Yeah, I've got everything here." I was like, "Okay, sick, all right." But unbeknown to us, maybe we should have read the contract, but we didn't. We were told under no circumstances should we be giving Scream any sambuca. Yeah. Anyway, he played his set. It was great. Then the next day we got a call from the hotel saying, "You owe us a lot of money. Your guest sort of trashed the room," which was like obviously a bit of a shock to us, but yeah, we were told, so I guess it was our fault. And then sort of later on, maybe a year later, I booked Scream for another event that I did, and I sort of brought that up to him, and he said to me, "Well, you were told not to give me sambuca." So
I think we actually gave him the bottle of sambuca.
We did
I don't
give
think
him
we
the
just
bottle.
gave him a
Yeah,
couple
yeah,
of
yeah.
shots. I think it was like, "You got any sambuca?" Yeah, boom.
There you go. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
There you go. Fill your boots.
But yeah, thanks ever so much for listening. Thanks, Bryn. Thanks, Ade. Thanks, Tom. Appreciate everybody listening to our shenanigans. But we'll end with this tune, In White Rooms. Thank you. See you next time. Cheers, lads.